You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Folks, listen up. US Cellular wants to help everyone get the gift of connection this holiday season. Already a customer? This applies to you too, because right now, new and current customers can get any phone, and I mean any phone, for free. Yes, free. Sounds like it's time to make the switch. Spread the holiday cheer far and wide this season with a new phone. Everyone can get the gift of connection at US Cellular. Get any phone free today. US Cellular, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com for details.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings,
Why are you listening to this show?
the podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
I did a rare thing I hardly ever do off air. Stugotz loves to do it to me. Stugotz loves, after we've had a disagreement of some sort on air, he loves to text me all the way home and the next day, the night, when he goes and does research and explain to me why Ohtani is indeed overrated. And I get it all night and I get bombarded with it. But I don't usually do that to other people. But after the show yesterday, I sent Chris Cody a tweet that reported that Titans victory that we just saw, in all circumstances when a team is down 14 points with 3 or 4 minutes left in a football game, and the number was like some 700 times it's happened, and nobody ever comes back in that situation. I was explaining to Chris Cody while he was trying to give me perspective and say, look, this is just one loss. All teams in that sport lose a game to a bad team. And while he's right about that, what he's not right about is none of the teams in the top of that sport fighting for that position have ever lost that game that way in that situation. And it's crushing to your fan base, to your family. Your mom is out. She's Dolph out. She thinks everything that's ever happened to this team is going to happen again and they're going to lose. And this is the beginning of what signals it. That game lost that way. Yes, of course. We could come in the next day, Chris. Of course. And if they'd lost 23-9, we come in, well, that was a weird one, but football's weird, huh? Look at what DeVito just did. Did you see how his agent was dressed? Football's weird. So it happens, and you can convince yourself of that. But if you believe that all of these teams are as fragile as their quarterbacks, physically and otherwise, right? Because Chris Long is texting me. He's going to get a tattoo of Tua if... Look at me, Louie. Thank you. I was going to hit somebody with a look at me Luigi in the last segment after somebody said something, and I got scared. So...
Would it be the I have an Italian-American husband, so I can do the Italian
That
fingers?
is what it was.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
That is exactly what I was going to use it on. But Chris Long has stakes in this team being a fraud because he has been saying for a while it's a fraud. They can't be good teams, not physical enough. Tua's not a good quarterback. I'll get a tattoo if he can win the Super Bowl. And so he texted me last night asking, would you give Tua one of these big contracts? Because he's sort of taunting me, trying to say, would you, if you were in the front office position, would you give that big contract? And not only his health issues, but look at what just happened in that game when everything wasn't perfect. Look at what happened. If you can't get the ball out in 2.3 seconds and Tyreek Hill is hurt. And I'm asking him, well, you tell me, football expert who's got an excellent podcast, I'm confused by what's happening with Brock Purdy. I don't know how good he actually is, but goddamn, when the 49ers are whole, he looks like he is the best player in the world, and I would give him all the money. But in a salary cap sport, you got to have value at that position if you want to keep Deebo Samuel and everyone else, because as we've learned in segments earlier in the show, everybody wants their stuff. Like when money's involved, and in that sport where you're giving your body over to the cause, like they're all fighting over money. You understand that at this point, we have enough knowledge about football that if you have that as an option, largely sometimes it's because you don't have great options. And all of them are fighting over money. And the 49ers are now physically fighting people. And Draymond's on his way out the door because they use that furnace and that volatility for their means. And now here it is with San Francisco. Debo wanted his money and he got his money. all of these guys are going to want their money. Brock Purdy's not making any money. Brock Purdy is working for less than $1 million a year. You got to find yourself a quarterback who lives at home like DeVito so you could build the rest of them. That sport's not paying its players, its labor, enough money for you to have all of the money you need to keep all of those people happy when they're giving their bodies in a fight, often in the inner cities, for money.
Everybody made a whole big thing about Brock Purdy living with a roommate. And then Tommy DeVito came in and he was like, oh, I see your roommate and I raised you 2 roommates. They're my parents.
It's the new lane. Like this is, if the quarterbacks used to be Brady and Manning and they did their commercials, how do you get to the commercials now? I wanted to ask that dude 1,000 questions about the opportunities that are coming this kid's way because, hell, man, we're so desperate for a healthy quarterback. Josh Dobbs was our guy for a minute. Like it's,
I remember that.
It's totally crazy. But then you game plan for Josh Dobbs. These jobs are hard. We don't know what we're doing at the position. No one knows who's good. But you know how you get good? You got to get 7 straight opportunities. Good luck with that, kid. That's where your contract is. 7 straight opportunities. You got to get them all. Everyone's got to get hurt. Or DeVito, we never see him. Never talk about him. Don't know anything about him. On Tua. Brock Purdy, I don't know what he is. But he might be MVP of the league if San Francisco can stay healthy enough and have all of the passing numbers.
He is now second favored, according to sports books out there, DraftKings Sportsbook. Dak Prescott, with his recent performance over the Eagles, has taken a slight lead over Brock Purdy, but those are the 2 favorites right now.
Another quarterback who needs a lot of things to be perfect, and in Dallas, a lot of things look like they're perfect. But
to be fair, we know that Dak Prescott, with this year compared to previous years, we know that he needs a lot of things to be perfect. We're just assuming that, given the history of Kyle Shanahan's offense, but we don't have tape of Brock Purdy in a different system.
And we don't know that anyone can do it because Trey Lance couldn't, and he had the skill set. But my point still stands on this position. The people who are in charge, they don't know either. They don't. They're all guessing, and they're playing probabilities.
I believe that now that you and Stellato said that.
It is crazy. I found it interesting how his agent I got me thinking, how many third-string quarterbacks are there out there right now that genuinely in their team are like, I just need my shot?
Well, we're going to see them all.
Because we've mocked.
we've mocked.
We're like, oh, DeVito, this guy came out of nowhere. But he's been sitting there like, just give me my chance and I'm going to be the next
Browning,
guy.
too. But if Burrow had been healthy the next game, Browning's chance would have been done. He got one chance, and then he got a second chance. And you need to get 7 of them in a row because the job seems hard. It seems like hard to do. But Josh Dobbs didn't make it look hard because no time to prepare for Josh Dobbs. He doesn't know his teammates' names. We don't know what he's going to do. This is a military complex in terms of strategy. Belichick will strangle you. He will strangle even Justin Herbert every time. Justin Herbert doesn't know what because that defensive coach is also paid, and he's got to get his money, and these people are working a world that's ultra competitive. Let me get back to Tua, though. So I said to Chris Long, well, this is the way that I would do it. I assume happiness is something that Tua would value. I assume that Tua is seeing everything that the rest of us are seeing and seeing, this is a pretty good place where they support me. I worked for Flores. That didn't feel very good. I almost ended my career because of how miserable I was. I see that I have a certain value, and everyone else can argue about whether I'm MVP or the 12th best quarterback. But here they seem to get me. I've got a coach I trust. I've got franchise stability, and I don't have to play the way that Zach Wilson is doing it in New York, where the organization, man, Sale will bail on you in a minute if you cost him his job. So do I have organizational stability? If I'm Tua, I'm like, man, winning seems fun. Happy seems fun. I'll take less whatever because I'm putting a down payment on happy because I'd like the next 3 years, if I get concussed, I'm risking my brain. I'm risking my brain for this. I'd like it to be happy.
But isn't that the happiness, though, is knowing that I'm risking all this, so I'm going to be compensated accurately as opposed to me giving a discount for the short term happy?
But he has seen, look, man, Flores is a Belichick disciple. Mm-hmm. Flores really didn't like Tua, support Tua, or think he was any good in a way that's obvious. But the new coach gets here and says, get me Tyreek Hill. I've got an answer for you. I do it a new way. I'm not doing it the way Belichick does. I like his division done a different way. I'm an ally. I'm a secretary. How can I help you? I'm a leader, but how can I help you? How can I make you better? Look, you and me are going to do this together. I'm a teacher. I'm with you. As long as I'm secure, you're secure. Then it becomes a relationship. Then it becomes love. Then it becomes fun. And then when you lose, it hurts together. But Tua gets half his money, and they're going to keep trying to give Tyreek Hill his money. They're going to keep trying. Tua, like, man, I don't know. I will tell you now that if I had to do some things over again as we did them at ESPN, I would not do many of them over again because I had to feel the pain of the last 2 years to get stronger and understand what happy looked like and what the cost of it was, what the price.
Really?
Yes.
Hold on, really?
Yes.
You wouldn't change?
Yes.
I don't know about
that. No,
man.
I would not change it. I'll tell you why I wouldn't change it. I would not change what I did because the suffering has now gotten to a point where it's made me stronger. But the last 2 years have been an unholy hell, and I was pushed into that position, at least in part, because they took out one of our guys. And when they did that and tempted me to do it myself, I said, okay, I'll do it myself. But self-employment is hard.
Yeah.
Like it is hard. And now the responsibility of 44 people and the media industry's falling apart. And can you get to something stronger and happier? Can I make these people believe in what we're doing enough that I care about their families, that I care about the responsibility of this? Can I make them feel loved in this environment so we're not fighting over money?
So let me ask you this question, right? If a genie came by and said, hey, I could take you back to, 2017 when everything was cool at ESPN or cooler than it.
I'd spend more time with my brother. I'd quit and go spend more time with my brother. That's what I would do if you gave me a genie. If you gave me a genie, and I'd write books with my brother, and I'd do cartoon books, and I'd do art with my brother, and I'd do a business with my brother that I was trying to get to. That's how I would answer that question.
Like, I'd wish for Cam Ward to transfer to Miami.
What's the story there?
We'll find out today.
But Rick Ross is involved?
Rick Ross was at Prime 112. There was a photo. The Miami's choosing between two top quarterbacks in the portal. It's either going to be Will Howard or Cam Ward. Unless
it's Miami's choice?
There's a deadline today. Someone's got to make a choice. They rate both, and it's a good position for Miami to be in. So we'll find out. This is no matter what, it presents an upgrade over Tyler Van Dyke, who, congratulations, we just found out yesterday is transferring to Wisconsin.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think the genie in 2017 would know who Cam Ward was.
I mean, with the COVID year, he might have been in Houston. I gotta look it up. I was also looking up the Tommy DeVito Heisman campaign that never was.
Well, you mentioned Wisconsin. You know that when they were at Illinois, he beat them real bad, and then they fired their coach, right? So just to bring it back to Tommy DeVito.
Cam Ward was 15 at the time, and if like a genie is presenting you with 15-year-olds, stay away from that genie.
Not the way your mustache looks right there. Like you look like someone that I could incriminate on that front. Is that a different mustache?
Different mustache.
That's a different.
No, it's not.
Yes.
No, I'm pretty sure it's the same one.
I think
It's the same. No, it's
You're
different.
gaslighting us.
Style different.
Thicker.
What?
Yeah, you just brush it differently.
Yeah.
I mean, is what I'm saying ridiculous, though? The idea of Tua understanding with his coach that organizational stability is something worth valuing, that they clearly helped make him better, and he values that.
Yes, but also, like we said, he puts his brain on the line every Sunday, and I think that's a different calculus. It's not like an NBA player taking less so they can get good teammates.
I understand, but it's still the difference between $200 million and $100 million. It's a big difference, but what's the cost of Happy? I'm dead serious on this. Like, I'd pay that if I had it for Happy.
I'm paying a lot for Happy and Cam. Hey, it's Mike, and I want to motivate you to make Miller Lite a part of your football watching experience. Here's the pitch. It's got only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12-ounce serving. With a smooth taste and a crisp, clean finish, you get the taste that you crave without the calories. And, football fans, I can assure you, from personal experience, there is no other light beer, not on this wonderful planet of ours, that goes with football quite like Miller Lite. Make football time Miller time. No matter what team you're rooting for, there is one thing we can all agree on. Miller Lite and football bring us all together. So, I want you to take my advice and make it Miller time all season long. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Don Le Batard.
Chris Cody does an impression. Just be careful.
dangerous game here. This is a dangerous game.
I don't want to play this game.
No, he was saying, man, I could do such a great Kendrick Perkins.
No, I don't want to play this game.
He's like, man, I can talk just like him.
This is who we're going to trust with
you
this.
do it. Let's let Amin do it, I think.
Stugotz. I think you could do it, Chris, because you did a great Charles Barkley. You're 1 for 1 there.
Did no one just hear the segment we just did with Amin? We cannot be taking
judgment is not the best.
counsel from the local drunk on whether or not you should do the impersonation of a black man stumbling over his words. Like, you don't see the bad judgment in that.
There was.
Moses Moody? Moody Moses? Moses?
Don't.
Moody?
You need that. It sounds worse.
Be careful, man.
We cannot do this. It's too close to the line. This is where the line is. Something legitimately funny can't be funny because we're scared our ginger's going to do something racist by accident.
Carry the hell on, Dan.
Rachel.
Dan, the line is where we feel alive, though. This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Ooh, all right, here we go.
What was that?
It's energy, bringing the energy in.
Well, we'd already started the segment, though.
You're supposed to count us in.
No, we start when the good material appears, and you just did what to get the energy? Are you trying to change the energy in the room? It's been an awkward hour here, and we've been moving fast. I got to explain something to people. Like, Mike Ryan's the executive producer of the show. In a few months, he's not going to be the executive producer of the show. This is a stressful environment, although it doesn't look like it. A lot of work goes into not making a stressful environment. And I would like more often for there to be sparks creatively. I would like that. But you don't want too many sparks because things catch flames when there are a lot of them.
No, it's been a rough week. But thankfully, I just auditioned a new agent, and I am hiring Sean Stellato as my media agent. And we'll see where the future takes us. We're very excited about this after a meeting at the Bang Bang Room or whatever.
Yeah, me too. Michael's of Brooklyn. I wore my most Italian shirt, and I didn't tell him about it but now I'm telling you all.
Yeah.
Okay, go sit in the penalty box and create a look at me, Luigi, for me, please, for Charlotte. Because
I'm not worried about how this will be produced and how cultural appropriation-y it'll feel.
There is a real opportunity for Tommy DeVito and his agent to grab some marketing dollars here in a way that is fun and funny. And
this is Linsanity vibes, I guess. The sample in this season, I mean, I know it felt longer than it was because there were multiple games, but if you compare what an NFL season was, the percentage of Tommy DeVito being a thing has already matched the percentage of Jeremy Lin in his season of being a thing. So Tommy DeVito, I think at the very least, has set himself up for life with paid appearances and autograph signings and being just a local legend just from these last 2 weeks.
But he's not going for comedy. In his mind, he wants to be a starting quarterback. He's probably thinking, I think people think I'm a joke.
Yeah, I say this with respect. There's, I think, a rightful amount of skepticism over these last 2 weeks, but he's NFC Player of the Week. On the other side, Zach Wilson is the other Player of the Week, and we kind of have our minds made up about him. I don't know if anybody projects Tommy DeVito to be one of these regular starters in the NFL, but I would love it. I don't think this gets old for me.
That was the question I wanted to ask because Dan kept saying, like, oh, you got all these Italian opportunities, and I was going to say, hey, man, like, is there any part of this where you're like, whoa, my client is legitimate. He should get opportunities, marketing and otherwise, because he's a good player, not because he's Italian.
And maybe, but they gave Daniel Jones the money, okay? So now the hustlers got to find their money where the money is. Like, the money is guaranteed. And this is when players say, this is about politics, I never got my shot. This is how it happens. Do you understand when I'm watching football on Sundays? What I believe I am watching is, hey, 70th best quarterback in the league when there are only really like 9 guys who can do this well. Drop back in the pocket, and I'm going to throw machetes at you, and I'm going to throw cleavers at you and do this really fast. And from the end zone view, anybody watching this would say, oh shit, that's Myles Garrett in 2 seconds. This job's impossible. Do it quickly, do it well, do it fast, right off the bat, be good at it, no reps. Look like Aaron Rodgers, Zach. That's what the standard is at the Jets now. The Jets. The standard is look as good as Aaron Rodgers, who lands 4 plays and fall down. And every game, it's going to be machetes and cleavers. Are you good at this? Or you're not good at this? And we've got no time to decide. Not in the pocket, where you got to throw it in 2 seconds. Not with our organization, because you know who's going to get fired if Daniel Jones isn't the quarterback? Everybody. Like, if Daniel Jones isn't the quarterback, who loses their job? All your protection. And so when that's the pressure cooker, and as an added bonus, all the people in management don't know how to identify quarterbacks. The best and biggest winner ever, 45 years old. No one wanted him. No one, not even the coach who now looks like a bum, who was a genius because he had him. They don't know how to do this. All of them are hurt. I saw an article in The Ringer. What's happening with this epidemic? What can we do about quarterbacks getting hurt everywhere? He did not play football.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, that's what you could not have any of them play football.
That's not an option.
What's option B?
Yeah. Let's try another option.
Yeah.
Okay, but
I'm super into prime football on Thursday with Easton Stick versus Aiden O'Connell.
But the question
the
question made me laugh because the Ringer's asking, like, what happened this year to the quarterbacks? And my answer was football. Football happened to all of them. You can't keep changing the rules. You can't hit him in the legs. You can't hit him in the head. But last week, C.J. Stroud, we were excited about him for a few games. Now you go in the concussion protocol. We've been arguing about Justin Herbert.
I'm still excited about C.J. Stroud. Yeah. Okay, I just want to say.
Is it possible that maybe they made the rules so much so that quarterbacks aren't used to getting hit? So now they're so soft because they haven't been getting hit that anytime they get hit, they're extra fragile.
Whoa.
Billy, you galaxy-brained.
You have another mustache on.
That's the same mustache, Chris. You're an idiot.
Billy, I do want.
He's got a massive point here, right? This is my cell phone case philosophy, right? When you have a case on your cell phone, you're a lot more reckless. But if you don't have a case on it, now you're more cautious. Same thing here. It's like, hey, if I have all of these rules protecting the quarterbacks, when you actually get hit, it's like, oh, what was that all about? Guys 20 years ago weren't going through this as much. Billy, I'm with you on this. Let's explore this.
Before, you know what? You're going to get down, you get down, or you're going to get hit. Now it's like, I'm going to fake get down, and then I'm going to get drilled, and I'm going to get an extra 15 yards, but also I'm out for the season.
Drop the dookie.
Minshew loves doing that fake get down stuff.
Minshew loves getting hit, though. If we're going to be real, Minshew and Baker love getting hit.
Baker loves it.
They wake up and they're like, I want to get hit. I think they sometimes walk out into traffic hoping to get hit.
Yeah, Baker's got that about him. No doubt. Comeback player of the year.
I feel like Minshew's the next Ryan Fitzpatrick. We're going to see Minshew for the next 10 years just being the guy that can get you 4 games.
And then we're going to have him on the show and anger him.
Yeah. Ask him about a water slide.
But it's a great lane, and that's such a great example. Think about all the teams that went trying to beat Brady, thought Fitzpatrick was the answer for 20 years. All of the ones in the division thought, well, I don't know, he had some good games with the Bills. Let's do this for 10 years. Let's see how this goes, because we don't know anything about who's a good quarterback. Minshew, I've seen him throw for 400 yards. Minshew will play until he's 39. Minshew's going to do what Flacco just did. Like, that's how you understand that what's happening in that sport is all of them are being thrown into a meat grinder to fight over money, and we don't know who the good quarterbacks are. And we analyze the sport, by the way, more than any other thing that we analyze in our lives.
I have a Gardner Minshew phone case now. Don't kick me up. Please don't kick me up.
I'm not Charlotte. A lot of sight gags today.
Yeah. Billy.
Have an audio audience.
Speaking of sight gags.
It was a mustache stuck on the back of my phone.
There you go.
Yeah. Theater of the mind, Charlotte.
Also, the timing's a little
well, we'll
off.
get there. We'll get there.
Billy's mustache. I want you to be dressed like that. I want to create a commercial around Billy's buys. I want you to be dressed like that and you to sell some of the weird things that you like to buy because you're...
I don't like how this is being presented. What is that supposed to mean, weird things that I like to buy?
All right.
Also, if I was truly in character and this was the era, I'd be super confused by half the things that I was selling.
What wizardry?
This is the thing, though. I don't...
A beam comes out of this portal?
I don't understand the purchases you're making these days or the things that are interesting to you to make. I shouldn't say they're weird. I think you're unusual and you buy unusual things.
Okay, that didn't clear anything up or make anything better.
He also bought clearly the worst gift at our White Elephant Exchange.
What was that?
What is that? Well, first of all, they were all anonymous, I'd just like to say. So you have no way of knowing for certainty what the gift was that I purchased.
He bought a kid's toy. There were no kids at this thing.
Well, I bought Crocodile Dentist. Why is that a bad gift? It's a fun game. Where is it? We could play it.
I actually ended up with it for my kid because Cougs didn't want it.
Cougs got done dirty. Did you see?
And Greg Cody.
Greg Cody had his gift stolen about 9 times.
I've never seen something like that. I've done Secret Santa every year for many, many years. I have never seen one person get their gift stolen a dozen times.
Well, and at the end, it was just out of spite because people were stealing candles from Greg.
We were chanting, steal Greg's gift. Yeah, whatever he had.
Candle.
If you brought a candle to that thing, come on.
Frankie has all of that on video that I'm sure he's never going to watch again.
Well, you say that, but I've never seen anyone enjoy anything the way our head of security, Frankie, enjoyed other people stealing.
Kept reminding, hey, you can steal.
Steal. The echoing
First
sound.
time it happened, he put someone in a headlock, which is great. We're like, Frankie, no, this isn't the type of stealing we're preventing.
Good stealing.
It's allowed today. What happened, though, to the fine bucket money? Get back on that case.
Our head of security, you remember when I say that self-employment is hard, that at the very beginning of this, I was paying someone $1,000 a day in security of my own money because we didn't know how to secure our building after the insurrection.
In fairness, there were no incidents.
Yes, but there was a line of people who wanted security work saying, wait, they're paying $1,000 a day over there because Dan's got to protect the Clevelander from insurrectionists. Frankie.
I feel like if we revisit that, the Clevelander was probably low on the list of targets after the Capitol.
I don't know about
right?
that.
Like there's probably 10 or 12 stops at least in between.
There was plenty of stuff on social media that made us think we should probably get security.
Billy, it was the Capitol building, number 2, the Clevelander. Right after.
Billy. My whole thought was, well, if they could do this to the Capitol building, for sure they can handle the Clevelander.
And so in the difficulties of self-employment that are more complicated than you might imagine, also we got out of the Clevelander a few weeks after gunplay was all over the place and someone died in the lobby of the hotel. A worker died in the lobby because someone was just shot. And so when I talked, it was there.
I was there.
It was. You were there that night? You were at the Clevelander that night?
That night because I was supposed to do my Sirius XM radio show.
How many people can back this story?
Well, no, I left because the funniest thing, I left because I decided I'd rather do it in my room and in commercial breaks, lie down on my bed. That's the only reason I went back. I didn't want to be sitting in a chair for 3 hours. But at that point, my plan was I'm just going to work through the night. I'm going to just do it right here in the studio. So
we've lost our way. Frankie, during the gift exchange, our head of security has never been so happy.
The old sidetrack, someone was murdered in our office. Moving on, sorry about that.
I was there.
So the white elephant.
Yes, thank you. Things have gotten intense.
And Dan, props to you for getting us back on track.
Yeah.
Normally, most people would want to chase that whole murder thing, but not you. Let's get back to white elephant.
And Frankie's Joy, our head of security. Frankie, as Mike Ryan peppered Greg Cody with 10 versions of his favorite song. And my holiday song, what was the name of that song? It's inundated me. You hit him with it like 10 times every time.
Trailers for sale.
Yes. Okay, now go ahead.
Rooms to let 50 cents.
Yes, and so here's Frankie. I'm going to do a Frankie. Keep going.
He usually goes, I'm Greg Cody, and that's
you have to steal. Keep stealing.
My day.
You can steal his gift. Steal it. Steal it.
Don Le Batard.
I got somebody here making fun of me. How old do you have to be to reference Shecky Green? Man, I went comedically there with the funny name of a comedian. That's on you for not knowing who Shecky Green is.
You got to know who Shecky Green is.
No, you don't have to know who Shecky Green is. But
your ally.
I don't like my allies
King
here.
of the Borscht Belt.
Stugotz.
I have the soul of a Borscht Belt comedian. I should be in the Catskills in 1945. Opening for Shecky Green. That's who I was destined to be.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Hello, Rob. I am starting right now. I have not talked to you in a while, and we are on the air. And before we get to very serious subject matter, I've got a problem that I need your help with. You're a human being who has made a comedy career out of the democracy of comedy now on Twitter. You're just wildly, wildly funny. But you have written a book, and we've talked about some of the subject matter. Rob Delaney, for those of you who do not know, is the creator of Catastrophe. He's the creator of the show Catastrophe, which was very popular, is very popular. And if you have humor and relationships, it's a really honest look at relationships that's wildly funny. It's one of the most inventive television shows that I have seen in a while. And he had, as his life fell apart, he had the strength to write one of the great comedy works on television and realized during that time, and sorry, Rob, to speak for you, I've read the book. You're a friend. I consider you a friend. And so I will tell the people, I will tell the people that you did a proud and brave thing by writing a book about the worst pain a human being could possibly feel. And you did this after gaining the life perspective of, yeah, I had a hit comedy, but I was a shitty husband and I needed to be a more present father. And you realized very overtly, I'm working and success and comedy. Yeah, they're important, but family matters more and love matters more. And this is serious subject matter because you lost your son in a way, obviously, that is torturous. And I've got in my studio an old-timey baseball player with a ridiculous mustache who's going to be in on our show. And so help me. Can you help me? How do I navigate the serious subject matter in this book? And hey, let's be funny and entertaining.
Well, I would say we can jettison the need to do that, right? Because if you feel the confidence that what you're talking about is worthwhile, then humor can happen. But if you try too hard, then it won't be fun. I mean, not that I'm not going to try to be funny, obviously, about this book, but it is empirically funny that we have an old-timey baseball player in there. Maybe it might not be if I didn't know you, but since I do, it makes it funny to me. So we could, I guess, start there.
Okay, but the awkwardness of doing interviews about this, right? You and I have talked about how transactional some of this stuff is, and you're now on tour selling a book in which you're talking about the greatest possible pain. And the interviews aren't going to be human. You're going to provide the humanity within the artifice of television, but you've been navigating serious subject matter, and you're a comedian. You're also a serious actor, but you're a comedian. I think your greatest strength is you're funny.
Well, thanks. I mean, I don't know. Life is so insane, and they're in the buffet of life. There's so many weird meals on offer that any human life is going to be a collision of things that are wonderful and funny and excruciatingly painful and seemingly endless and hilarious and things that make you horny and things that make you want to go hide under a rug. So, that said, promoting the book hasn't been the most organic, normal feeling thing in the world because, you want to get it out there. And the way to get any piece of media out there, you got to promote it. So it has felt weird. Yes, you're right about that. Because this book is different. This isn't a book about, aliens taking over Arkansas. It's not a book about a historical, earthquake cleanup rescue thing that turned into a romance. It's the story of my son, and he died. So, it has been strange. The sort of salve on the pain of promoting it is that the book has gotten in front of loads of bereaved parents and siblings and people who can really use it. So this is the first thing I've ever promoted where I'm like, okay, if I do this, then this is going to happen. Meaning if I promote it, yes, painful, then somebody who lives in a suburb of Tallahassee can get the book because they hear about it. Whereas I live in the middle of London, I can walk to a bereaved parents meeting because I live in a, thrumming megalopolis. But what if you can't? You need tools to help you. So I hoped that this book could be a tool like that. And, through promoting it, more people who could use it can read it.
It's a New York Times bestseller. It's A Heart That Works. It's out now in paperback. And I have not talked to you since this happened to me. So I will tell you that the places that you and I talked about the loss of your son at the time that we talked about it, I didn't even know my brother was sick when we had that conversation. And in the time since then, my brother has died. And I will tell you that the pain of that has been, I don't know what your pain is exactly, right? I can't possibly know, even though you've written a book. But I feel like I lost a son because I raised him.
Yeah. It's brutal, and I'm glad that you are talking about it. I'm so incredibly sorry. I'm glad that you're crying and that people can hear that, because the pain.
There's an old-timey baseball player here, Rob. Like what? Yes, thank you. Like I can't cry in front of these people. Do you know how weak it is? Do you know? I'm a blubbering idiot, Rob. I need this to be funny. Like, look, there's an old-timey baseball player, Rob.
I know, and and it's very interesting because like parents get all the attention when their kid dies, and people say, "Oh, that's the worst thing that could happen." And all right, maybe it is. It's the worst thing I could have ever imagined. But then I watch my son's brothers, his two older brothers, and the one that was born. My wife was pregnant also when our son died, so we've had a fourth boy, and helping these boys who were just three little peas in a pod. I have hundreds of pictures of the three of them in Henry's hospital bed. Henry, the youngest, 2 years older, is the next brother, and then 2 years above that is the other one. And what are they doing without their little compatriot, their little partner in crime, their little nugget, And so watching a brothers mourn a brother has been, very difficult, and I don't know, and a up privilege, because it's so beautiful to see these brothers express the love and grief that they feel and felt for this amazing boy. It's heavy shit.
Can you explain to people, because I'm optimistic that this might be so, and I've felt some soothing in, it's been, it's only been a few months, but I have felt, while carrying around what I would say is a physical weight of sickness in my stomach, like I can feel it, that does not lessen, and it's there as soon as I wake up in the morning. I can hope that this is going to have lessons of growth on the other side of the pain. And I can see it sort of from here, but life's happening all around me in a number of different ways that interrupt my grief. Are you stronger now and more balanced, and do you have a better relationship with life? Is that the gift he left you?
I hesitate to encapsulate it, especially to you, somebody experiencing acute grief. Your brother, it's fair to say, just died. So I wouldn't want to blow smoke up your ass and waste your time, and also dishonor the very appropriate pain that you're feeling. So on paper, the answer is yes. Acute grief makes way for sort of long-term grief, where the excruciating waves of often physical pain may come with more time between them as time goes on. So, a day will come where when you think about your brother, your first physical instinct will be a smile. And then often it'll be tears. So, yeah, I could say that, and it's true, but part of what I wanted to do with the book was not tell people that there was hope, or give them maxims or sayings or any nonsense like that. People could take hope away from the book. Another mustache, fantastic, thank you. for your assortment of mustaches.
Well, this is the thing. It's distracting. Rob, I want to laugh with you. Rob, I want to laugh with you, and I want to talk about the serious stuff because I think you have genuine knowledge for me here, right? I have found so little solace in the words of anybody. Like I've found so little balm, but I also have a guy in the back who's dressed like an old-timey baseball player, and I can't do both of these things at once.
Right. But I, honest to God, think that the absurdity of that is a very helpful thing. A lot of people would say, I don't know, if there were some grief intimacy coordinator or something, they'd be like, you know what, why don't we not have mustache guy there? Why don't we, I think it'd be better if maybe, and no, because shit gets interrupted. You know, you learn in my book, you know, I say that some of the first times we laughed after Henry died were in dealing with the funeral home guy, the undertaker who helped with Henry, and his name was Barry White. And we just couldn't, you know, so laughter and grief go well together, and the laughter doesn't mean that you're not grieving.
Laughter, because of what I remember about him, laughter ends up, even when I'm laughing, reminding me of the physical pain, Rob, because it jostles the physical pain. And so now I can be laughing at whatever's been said to me, and it is a reminder my brother's gone.
Yeah, and it'll be like that for, I don't know how long, a while. That's why I didn't want to say, yes, you know, there's sunshine around the corner, because they forget that your beautiful brother died. You know, they remember and then they forget, and them. You don't forget. And people will want you to move on. And you do that at your own speed, and you never really do move on. You weave the stories of your brother and the memories of your brother and the pain that you feel missing. You weave that into your life. You weave that into happier memories to come. And why wouldn't you? You know? So it'll hurt. You will love him forever. He'll be your brother forever. How do you communicate with him? I don't know. I don't know where he is, you know? But he's somewhere.
But wait. There's a lot we don't know here. But are you spiritual enough to feel Henry's presence, or are you brooding, and the pain is so big that there's no way that you will believe in anything that brings you that kind of loss? You will not believe that can keep existing and reach you because it's gone, and it's gone forever, and the pain is not.
So for my spiritual beliefs are basically that Henry isn't Henry as I know him anymore. This is how I feel. Because I loved him and because I love him, I don't want him to be in some physical paradise where he's like still him, because that would be boring for me. Christ, when I die, I want to get obliterated. Not like destroyed, but, you know, poured into the big cosmic smoothie where we all mix and mingle and all that. So it's not my job to know where he is or understand where he is. God help us, God, if we could even begin to understand what comes next with these insane minds, these useless, swollen frontal lobes filled with recipes and street jokes and sports stats. Jesus. Like, that mind can't communicate with him. Like,
don't disrespect sports stats. All right, there you crossed the line there. Like, please,
they're important.
Have some goddamn respect, please.
Here, my wife the other day says to me, she goes, because I'm part of my midlife crisis is listening to a lot of Steely Dan and reading books about Steely Dan, etc. And the other day, I just had a distant look in my eyes, and my wife goes, "Are you thinking about Steely Dan?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "There's like a man with a shovel, and I can hear him in your mind shoveling important memories like our marriage, the birth of our kids, into a furnace to make room for Steely Dan fun facts." And yeah, we both had a good laugh because that is what is happening inside my head right now.
But I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You were in the middle of something thoughtful, and again, I can't help but notice there's an old-timey baseball player in the back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, can he communicate with me through like a medium that I give $30 to on a boardwalk at the beach? I hope not. That would suck for him. Yeah, I might want to talk to him in the English language that we used, but for me, I see him in his mother's eyes, in his brothers, the back of their necks when they're asleep, in the pain that I feel. I woke up the other morning crying from a dream that a doctor was telling me about the circumstances of his death. Henry died at home, but I had a nightmare that he died in the hospital, and a doctor was just telling us what happened. And I woke up sobbing, and, that in a way that felt good because it's been almost 6 years since he died. So I felt very grateful that I could be just body slammed by a very painful memory of my son, who I should be raising. He should be 8 years old now. You know what I mean? And riding a bike around too fast and me chasing him saying, watch out for whatever. And, and are you kidding me with all that candy you ate? And come over here and sit on my lap. And he's like, I'm 8. I don't want to. I'm like, I don't care. I had you so that you would sit on my lap. Get your ass over here. That's what should be happening. And it isn't. And that hurts. And it should hurt. So you should be sad as hell right now. It should have a major physical component in acute grief. And that's one of the ways right now that you love your brother is through feeling that pain. And yeah, will it dissipate and change in the coming months and years? Yeah, it will. And then it'll come back again, and then it'll go away again. And, yeah.
You really petered out there.
I did, yeah. I was thinking about the mustache.
Yeah, I thought you were thinking about Steely Dan. He's the author of a New York Times bestseller. It's called A Heart That Works. It's out now in paperback. Let's talk about it more long form. I actually haven't talked to you in a minute, and I kind of need your help with some of this stuff because I've been isolating. I don't know what you did. I don't know if you kept working. I don't know how you managed what you managed, but I haven't been talking to anybody about this stuff because it hurts too much, and it sounds like you have some wisdom. So thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Oh, no, it's great. It's great. I'm happy to do it. I will have to pick up some Alive kids from school shortly, so I can't talk for too terribly long, but I could call in another time.
All right, no, that
would be fun.
No, you're leaving. That was very dark. You went
No, not now.
See you later.
Not now, but I mean like in 5 minutes.
All right, see you later. Please close with a shot on Billy's face. Just
Hey, it's Mike, and I want to motivate you to make Miller Lite a part of your football watching experience. Here's the pitch. It's got only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12-ounce serving. With a smooth taste and a crisp, clean finish, you get the taste that you crave without the calories. And, football fans, I can assure you, from personal experience, there is no other light beer, not on this wonderful planet of ours, that goes with football quite like Miller Lite. Make football time Miller time. No matter what team you're rooting for, there is one thing we can all agree on. Miller Lite and football bring us all together. So, I want you to take my advice and make it Miller time all season long. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.